3, 2, 1.
Hi, and welcome back to the Layover Lounge. Here again, we invite St. Mary's International students, faculty, and alumni to learn more about what's happening in our international Rattler world. I'm Anne Faucett, the Director of International Admission and Center for National Programs at St. Mary's. And today I have the pleasure of honored guest, Dr. Ocampo, who is our Chair of Engineering. So Juan, how did we get here? No.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here to talk a little bit about our programs, to talk about St. Mary's, to talk a little bit about Colombia so people can know about Colombia and our Colombian students and people can know about St. Mary's. I would like to introduce myself a little bit. So I'm Juan Ocampo. I'm the Chair of Engineering. I have been with St. Mary's for the last 10 years.
It's really been a decade?
It has been a decade.
Oh,
so
wow.
This is my 10th year now. And what I tell people, I thought I was coming to St. Mary's as a step of my career, but I fell in love with the students, I fell in love with the staff, with the faculty. So yeah, it has been a decade now.
Oh my gosh. And you're originally from?
I'm originally from Medellin, Colombia.
There we go.
Born, raised, I did my undergrad there, and then I came to the United States for grad school.
Yep. And your specific area is mechanical.
My training is mechanical, so I'm bachelor's, master's, and PhD in mechanical engineering, but I focus my research on structural reliability, which is making airplanes safer.
Oh, good, because I mean, I definitely need safe airplanes when I fly.
Yes, and I can tell you that you can feel as safe as you can. I tell people it's more dangerous to get on the freeway than to get on an airplane, so you're gonna be safe when you go, you recruit our students, and you bring them back.
Perfect. So we are back in San Antonio, but a lot of times we've actually had layovers in Colombia in some of the cities because you and I have been able to travel together a little bit, which can sometimes be unique. The recruiter bringing along a faculty member. You guys usually have a lot of different personalities, but you seem to be very good with the students and talking to the parents. And now we've had some really great partnerships start.
Yes, and I want to mention that traveling with you and with our international office has been a lot of fun for me, and that is something that I enjoy a lot because being able to talk to the families and students can meet the faculty before they come, they see our personalities, they see about the St. Mary's experience, they see how international and multicultural we are. So it's very important for the families and as well for us to meet the different students. So traveling with you in Colombia has been a pleasure and has been very, very good to meet different families.
Yeah, and I put you to work.
You do. I was thinking the recruiter job is just they go, they visit one school, and then they lay on the beach the whole afternoon. And it's not like that. We start 7 a.m, we visit the first school, and then we continue. We take a taxi across the city. We continue going to the next school, quick lunch, keep going, and the night we meet families. But it's very rewarding to be able to meet all families and students.
No, in my defense, that 7 a.m. visit was your high school.
That's the problem with Catholic Jesuit school, that they want to start early. But yeah, it was my school, the one that made us start 7 a.m.
That is true.
Yeah.
And I know that was a couple of years ago. And since then, we've had some really great trips to Colombia, and we're starting to see some students coming.
Yeah, and that's very exciting. And that's something that takes a lot of effort. And that's something that I'm very thankful to your office, because being able to visit now for 3 times Colombia, being able to do a STEM tour through different cities, being able to partner with great universities and talk to great schools, I think that is something that is bringing now some fruits.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that STEM tour.
Yes.
Where I had to tell you, you're going to get all areas And your focus is obviously engineering, but sometimes you had to talk about different areas.
Yeah,
like St. Mary's.
you need to be very knowledgeable about your school to know our mission. You get a lot of questions about business school in Colombia. Many of the students, they want to do engineering, they want to do business. So you need to be very knowledgeable about both. As well, you get a lot of questions about law, like how to do a master's in law, a Juris Doctor. So yeah, you need to be very knowledgeable. Even about immigration, sometimes you get immigration questions. The good thing about being an international student is I went through the process and I know the process of being an F1 student, go to OPT, getting an O2 visa or H1B. So sometimes I can answer those questions, but the good thing is we have a lot of support on campus, including you, and we can refer all those students to the right people.
Yeah, I can just see it. I have Anne's card.
Exactly. So what is a CPT? Let me give you Anne's card. So in that way, they can go to the right person and get all those answers.
Yeah, but I think always the important thing is that you were there. I think because sometimes we see, universities not able to get somewhere and put a face in front of the students, and so it's just nice to have someone there, which is great.
And having a familiar face is very important. When they see, this person is from my country, this person is from my city, this person went through the same process. Like they finish, for example, a bachelor's here, they went for a master, they went for a PhD, or maybe an exchange student, so they can see what happens to these people that went. They see your experiences, so in that way they feel more comfortable sending their kids or themselves coming to a country that is going to be probably new for them, a new culture, a new school, a new way of living.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one thing I really want to talk about is, so our international partners. I think one of the things when I came on board at St. Mary's is we had to do a big evaluation of what are we doing internationally, where are we going, what are our normal pipelines. And one of the countries that I really wanted to introduce, mostly because I met you, but other faculty, other areas of interest and where students are coming from, was Colombia. And a great way to do that is within partnerships. But you can't just sign a document. We know that. This is great. Take the photo and sign. There's so much work that goes behind it. And you've been really instrumental with StSMU University, especially in Cali, and, what we've been doing.
Yes. And I'm very glad that you mentioned that, because you can sign so many agreements, but you need to be very intentional about those agreements and make sure that it's not just a piece of paper that we sign, that is an agreement that will benefit both institutions. And that's the beautiful thing about Colombia, that our leadership over there in different universities, for example, ICESI, which is one of our main partners, they understand about accreditation. They understand about the value of education. They understand about why it's important to learn a second language and why the students, they come here already having a very good level of English. And at the same time, they help these partnerships to happen. They educate the students about the importance and how valuable it is to go and study in the United States. So it's very nice to see that this agreement is giving us the fruits that we're waiting for. And last semester, we have a few students coming to different schools. So we have students in the business schools, we have students in the engineering school, that they left a very, very nice impression on our faculty. We have, for example, Samuel is writing a paper with Dr. Iswaran this semester based on the work that he did last semester.
Oh, okay.
And this semester we have great students coming as well into our school that helps to enrich our culture and also helps those students to learn about our culture.
Well, and that's what I know, especially you want to see, because I think you told me when you guys did one of the articulation agreements, you spent 12 hours looking over course material and syllabus. And so sometimes I think people think, oh, that was pretty easy, you signed a document. It's no, there were so many steps that we had to get there.
Yeah.
And then to see the fruit of the labor.
It's so much work behind, and it's not just oh yeah, we agree, let's sign this. There is work from the faculty, taking a look to the degree articulation, this class is equivalent to this one. Let's take a look to the syllabus. Let's take a look to the assessment. It's not just the course. It's let's take a look to the degree plan. Let's take a look to the accreditation. Then like, okay, let's get our legal together. So now legal has to go and review the agreements. Then finance has to go together. Okay, what is the discount that we're gonna give the student? What is the discount that they're gonna give us? And all those things in order to make this agreement happen, and always thinking about the benefit of our students and our Colombian students as well.
Yeah, and then just, okay, so now we have to market this, we have to communicate it. My office, we have kind of both takes on it, where we have students who can come after 2 years of study or exchange, and then there's study abroad. I know we took a group of MBA students down there for a week, and everything that goes into that. So the implementation process.
Yes.
But I mean, I would say out of a lot of partnerships, and I've been doing this a long time, you've been doing this a while as well, this one was pretty quick, to say the least, and successful.
And successful.
Yes.
And it's to put our name down there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like a Colombian family is not a big circle. It's a small circle. The people that has the means to come here, the people that has the knowledge to come here. So you start seeing like these students coming here, families start talking. Now you start getting like this application for freshmen. So it's a process that takes time, but it's very beneficial also for the Colombian students as well for our U.S. students.
Yeah, it is surprising because I talked to a family this year already, and even though the father he works in finance, works for another company, he actually teaches a course at StSMU. And I said, oh yeah, like we're coming down there, you know, usually every year because of this partnership, but also to go into the high schools. Oh, and I've known your daughter's high school counselor for a while. And they were kind of blown away by that. I go, oh yeah, I know so-and-so and so-and-so.
Yeah, and something that you do very nice is in Colombia, college is not a one-person decision.
No.
College is a family decision. So it's not just talking to the student, it's talking to the parents. Sometimes you go to meet a family and there is a grandma sitting at the table because it's a family decision. It's not just like, hey, I want to go to this school. I remember me few years ago talking to my parents like, hey, this is the school that I want.
A few years
few
ago.
years, 10 years ago when I went to college, like when I finished high school, like, hey, this is the school that I would like to go to. What do you think? So it's a family decision. It's a family consultation that we do. So that's why it's very important when you go down there, when you sit with them for a dinner, or you allow them like, hey, let's do a Zoom anytime and we can talk. That's very valuable for the Colombian families, and I don't see that happening in so many schools in the United States. That's something that we do very special.
Yes, we try to be very, strategic about specifically the country, whether it's El Salvador, Honduras, Colombia, Peru, and making that connection, because I think sometimes people get mixed up like, well, you have an El Salvadorian student. It's okay, just have them talk to a Colombian student. No, that'd be kind of like someone saying like, okay, someone from New York can totally relate to someone in California.
Exactly.
Not gonna happen.
Yes, and like having that relation with the families, and also not just that part is families are doing an investment when they come here. For a Colombian family to send a student to the United States is a big investment. And what I love about our school is we're always working with them, not just in the choosing the right major, helping them to find like the right way to come here, is also talking about the finances. Like up in front, like, hey, this is how much it will cost you to come here. This is how much scholarship that we're gonna be giving you, which we are very, very generous. This is some of the specialty programs that we have that the students can apply and also, help to close the gap. So we are very responsible as well on the financial part for the families when they come here.
Well, and the outcomes. I mean, I know a lot of times when I talk to students, especially want to do engineering, and sometimes I get that, I'm going to study aerospace. I'm like, well, let me talk to you about our chair. He did mechanical, he's all about mechanical, and then it leads into aerospace, but do your undergraduate first. And what's nice is connecting the student with you so that you can actually explain it better than probably my bullet points that I know.
No, you're pretty good explaining to our students about engineering. I'm going to give you an honors engineering degree at some point. But that's very true as well, is the value of our degrees. Our degrees they have a lot of value. Our students, when they graduate, they find jobs. You can talk to many of our international students that they had been at St. Mary's, and surprisingly, they find jobs. And we have our students on OPT getting jobs. We have our students converting OPTs in other type of visas that help them to emigrate. So it's a very good return of investment for the families, let me put it that way.
I mean, that's ultimately what they're always looking for is
Yes.
that, especially the parents and probably the grandma,
Yes.
what is that return? Are you going to set up my child for success? And I always tell families, we have everything in place. Your child still has to take those steps, but you can't hide in your class. You can't hide from our office. I know that. We see the students, we, see them as, a person on the campus, whether it's going to mass or participating in retreats in the dorms, and that's also what you get from being at St. Mary's.
And I know each of my students, and I know when one of my students, they don't go to class, it's because we have that intimate small classes where I have in engineering 12 to 18 students. So I just do a pan zoom and I know which student I'm missing, who's not coming to class, who may be lost, based on their faces when I'm explaining something. So I love that about St. Mary, that we are very small, we're very close to the students. I know my students very, very well. So when they ask me for a letter of recommendation, I can really write about them. I can write meaningful things about what they did during their career at St. Mary's. It's not just I know Anne Faucett, she has been very good student in my class. No, I can give exact examples of projects, of research, of conferences that they did with me, so I can write a very, very meaningful letter for them at some point when they want to do an internship or when they're finding a job after graduation.
No chat GPT letters.
No, sometimes that helps, but I'm very, very meaningful on my letters when I write them to them. Yeah.
Of course, I'm sure you are. Now this year, you've got a couple classes, or is it just senior design? No, what classes?
I was teaching senior design, and this semester I'm teaching aerospace structures to our
higher
seniors.
Level classes.
Yes.
Do you ever miss teaching freshmen?
Yes. having freshman classes, I don't know how that sounds when I just pause. Teaching freshman classes is very, very nice because you can inspire those students, and those students that they are a little bit lost and they don't know how to follow engineering, or when they come to mechanical, like they want to do aerospace or they want to do automotive or oil and gas, you can inspire those students on different career paths. So I miss that part, okay? They're a little bit more wild, but they keep me young when they're wild. My mature students, they know what they want. They're more responsible. I don't have to be asking for homework. I don't have to be why you didn't wake up for class? Or my older students, they don't complain for early 8:20 classes. I tell them that in Colombia, we start at 6 in the morning. So college classes start at 6 in the morning. 6 a.m.
I don't even wake up at 6 a.m. and I have a 4-year-old.
You have to wake up at 5 a.m. to be at 6 in class.
I don't do that.
And here they complain about 8:20. But yes, I miss my freshman students. It's because the seed that you can plant on them, and you see the whole process. Yeah. I get them a little bit older, so I don't see the whole process. So that's why I miss to go down to the freshman classes.
Well, that's probably why you like the recruitment side, because you kind of get to inspire them, convince them about St. Mary's, but then also you see them, you see them at our orientation and, reconfirming with their parents, because a lot of times the parents do travel with them, and then you kind of slowly watch them grow up, and then you finally get them at the end.
It's that, and that's so beautiful, that make you feel old, and I'm going to tell you why. I had been 10 years at St. Mary's, and I was looking at a student that put something on Instagram, one of the first students that we graduated in 2018. And this student already have a 5-year-old and has a little one, a 3-year-old. And I was looking at his picture, oh my God, he was my student. He was in my class, and now he has 2 children. So yeah, it's beautiful to see how much they had accomplished with a very powerful degree at St. Mary's.
Yeah, and you keep in touch with them, I'm sure.
That's the beautiful thing about St. Mary's. I keep in touch with so many of our students, not only us in engineering, but we do an alumni reunion every year during Baby Bake. We're going to be talking about St. Mary's activities in a minute. But we bring our students during Baby Bake weekend, and we do an alumni reunion. And it's very nice when they bring their fiancés, they bring their kids. and they tell like, hey, I have been working at this company X, Y, and Z. I can give you examples if you want to, but you feel like really you're working at that company. So to see how much they have accomplished, and when you see those students that they were not the strongest student, but you have this big gap, that is something that we do very good at St. Mary's. You may go to the top schools, but the gap that they do on the students is this.
Okay.
But the students, the gap that we do on the students, we get them here and we graduate them in a very big gap. So when you see how much they accomplish, is amazing for you and make you feel so proud to somebody that don't have any kids. They are my kids. So I feel so proud about them.
They probably now come back and this nice new building. Why couldn't I have had that?
We did for first time last year, we did our alumni reunion at our Blank Shepherd Innovation Center. And that's what they say. They say why we didn't have these labs? Why we didn't have these classrooms? And I tell them that's we're growing at St. Mary's.
Yeah, we are. Exactly.
So that's beautiful to see.
But I mean, you did say, so going back to activities, it's one thing that I always notice and tell students is that, so a curriculum in academics is, it's ABET accredited engineering. It's a great example is that you have to meet certain standards. So most universities, you look at curriculums and it's very similar. Now, the size of the classroom might change. The faculty background is going to change, things like that, and then the overall campus. But I think we give do a really great job opportunity for some of those professional development that you sometimes don't get at a large school or even some other smaller schools. It's that reinvestment at the same time in our students.
Yes, and you mentioned two very important things first. The first one is our accreditation. So we have our ABET accreditation, which is what is very nice about ABET is our continuous improvement process. So at the end of each semester, I ask each of our faculty to fill up a form about what went good in the classroom, what are the weaknesses that you saw in the students, why those weaknesses are in there. It's maybe because a previous course that they took. So we're always looking how to continue improving the program. We meet with our industry advisory board. We have an industry advisory board. So we make sure that we're teaching the students what the industry needs. So that's the very first important thing that you mentioned. The second one is the reinvestment that we do in our students. So I'm going to give you a few examples. Last year in October, I took 25 students to the SHEP National Conference. So the SHEP is the Society for Hispanic Professional Engineers. So we took all these students to a professional development conference. They had the biggest career fair in the United States. So they get interviews on campus. We have international students coming with us as well. Last year, we took Rene from Argentina as well. We took some of our students from Guatemala and Salvador. So it's very nice to see these students coming to this conference. We had the Society of Women Engineers, so they went to Los Angeles as well with some of our students. So we are always giving these opportunities to our students, professional development on campus and off campus, so they get the full experience of not just taking the curriculum that is very rigorous, so they can also have this professional development.
Which is great, because so when I go and I travel and talking to students, do you understand what professional development means? Do you know how to network? And no offense, as an engineer, sometimes people think engineers are just in a lab and not really doing anything, or sometimes
that's what we do.
I know that's true.
That's our personality, an engineering personality.
And just getting them at some point you will have to interview. You will need to put yourself out there. And how do you do that? By giving them this opportunity, but kind of that little push, pushing them and forcing them to kind of do it, and they then get comfortable. And which is good.
And it's not just the professional development that we offer to the students, it's our liberal arts education. So remember that St. Mary's is a liberal arts school when we offer a professional degree, which is engineering, but at the same time, you have this liberal arts education where we educate you as a person. So we don't want you to be the best person just in the technical part. We want you also to be a very good communicator. So if you can write, if you can do public speaking, if you are a good listener, you're going to be a great leader. Because we don't want our students just to be the engineer that is in a corner developing code or making the next rocket. We want you to lead that company. We want you to give back to the community. We want you to come back to St. Mary's and hire our students.
Yeah.
So we work very hard on those students also to develop those soft skills that the companies are looking for.
And working collaboratively, I know across campus, like you have a philosophy course for engineers and you work with the philosophy department directly to, you're not the one teaching it. And so it's kind of nice to get students to get out of their shell, like you said, a little bit more and get those skills.
Exactly. And that's a very good example. We teach professional ethics for engineers. And it's not just an engineering professor teaching that class. We put two professors at the same time in the classroom. So we have the engineering professor with a philosophy professor. They talk about common good. They talk about ethics. And we put the students in very difficult situations and see how they will react based on their moral and the ethics that they know.
Yeah, and the alumni that I have met, I think those are the main values. And so whenever I have families and talking to like, how do you distinguish yourselves? It's like the values that we know parents are trying to also instill in their child, but we need them to, trust us that we're going to continue that. And I think that speaks more than anything else usually when you're talking to a parent. And then they see it at graduation.
Yes.
Or they see it when they're 2 years into their job and there is a conflict and first person they're probably going to call is like their mom or dad.
Exactly.
So.
And we ask our students during their capstone project, we do a capstone project with the industry, and they write a report about the design that they develop for this industry, any system that they design. But at the end, they have to write a reflection about their time at St. Mary's. And it's beautiful to see how much they value the liberal arts, how much they value the communication class that they took or English classes, how much they value philosophy classes, how much they value theology classes, which is not taking Catholicism. It's about learning about the common good, learning about how God on their different representations, they can help you in your professional life. So even no matter if the student is from the Middle East, if the student is from Latin America, or the student is from Europe, they value so much these classes at St. Mary's in the liberal arts.
Yeah, and I'm sure even, like you said, community and giving back to community, because there's been a few projects that have been so community-based.
Yes.
Like the school bus, the mobile school bus that you guys had for the mobile lab, that is, if I was in middle school, I'd be blown away by that opportunity. Yeah. And the St. Mary students get to do that.
That has been one of my favorite projects, and not just that one, is different projects that we give back to the community, including this school bus that we developed for the San Antonio Independent School District, that it has 3D printers, it has a flight simulator, and we're taking these bus to different schools that they don't have any STEM activities. So this is the first exposure that student has to aerospace, to additive manufacturing, which is 3D printing. We have these VR goggles, so they can learn about all these different things, and it's life-changing what our students are doing for the community as well.
Yeah. Because we tell students, when I read applications, they're already involved in their own community. So, well, you've got to continue that. Like that really kind of gives you're always going to have your academics and your homework. You're going to have your fun social, but, I know community is a big, important part of who you are and the school you came from. And just because you're in San Antonio doesn't mean you can't get that. And so they get to see that and experience it. They don't just stay on the campus, per se. And
I love how our students think about community. So one of the courses that I have the opportunity to teach sometimes is we have a very rigorous design curriculum. And we start on the first semester of the junior year teaching this design sequence. And they have to design something for their communities, and it's beautiful to see Central American, South American students thinking hey, I want to design something for remote communities to generate energy, or how they can access clean water. It's beautiful to see they're thinking about their communities and how this education that is giving them all the technical knowledge, how they can give back to the community.
Yeah, because eventually most of our alumni, I know there's some that stay in the U.S., but there are a lot that do return to their home country.
And they want to return back to their home country and give back, all the knowledge that they get here, how they can get all this and give back to their communities. And sometimes they have family businesses that they want to go back and work with them. So, we have students that they want to return.
Well, I've learned a lot. Anything else you need to add about Colombia? Or I'm trying to think of like new horizons. I know we will eventually get back to Cali. Hopefully your home city. I love your home city.
Yeah, so yeah, we will go back to Cali. We want to go back to Medellin. We will be visiting Barranquilla as well. So I want to invite all these different families, all these different students to contact Anne. Feel free to contact myself, and we will be more than happy to tell you about how's education at the United States, like how is to getting your degree here, like what are the skills that you need to come here, how to be successful here based on your goals. So as we mentioned, we have students that their goal is to stay in the United States. Their goal is sometimes to go back to their countries. So how we can accomplish all these different goals and dreams that they have.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to have you again on the show.
No, it has been my pleasure, and I hope that at some other point we can do another
maybe
podcast.
a layover lounge in Colombia.
In Colombia, and we can talk about all the amazing things that happen in San Antonio. We can talk about Oyster Bay. We can talk about homecoming. So we study hard, but we also have fun as well at St. Mary's. Yeah.
Thanks, Juan.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you again for joining us on the Layover Lounge. I hope you've learned a lot about Colombia, engineering, partnerships, and just what St. Mary's can offer our students. Please follow us for the next episode. Description below. I'm Anne Faucett, your host, and thanks, Juan.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
3, 2, 1.